Why are there no good Beyblade games? It seems like for a series as popular as Beyblade that we would have like at least one really great Beyblade game, but we really don't. Because I've been watching Beyblade for a long time, ever since V-Force, and I've watched basically everything up to Metal Masters. I think that was the last part of the original reboot that they did about a decade ago. But it seems like we never really could get like a good modern Beyblade game, or when we did get like a decent Beyblade game, they would be in Japan for forever, and by the time they came to the US, nobody really had any interest anymore. Now, the only Beyblade game that I've had like, personal experience playing, the one that even looked like, remotely fun, was Beyblade Super Tournament Battle for the GameCube. And that was about the most bare bones shit that they ever could come up with. But I kind of just want to talk about like Beyblade games in general and kind of theorize on why we don't have any great Beyblade games. We've had some passable Beyblade games, but we haven't had any great Beyblade games. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today.
Now a word from our sponsors.
Hi, before using Dubby, I was a father of 12. But now, after Dubby, I'm a deadbeat dad.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Let's see what we got in here for the Dubby. Dubby. We got the motherfucking... We got the motherfucking... Oh, shit. So the first flavor of Dubby, we have peach and beet.
You what?
Second flavor of Dubby, we got the dragon mayo. Next flavor we have laxative.
What?
Oh, laxy grenade. Next flavor we have this is a zero sugar powder pack. And last but certainly not least, we have Heinz Berry Splash. I'm Wasabi, and this has been your Dubby advertisement.
And for majority of the time, series like Beyblade that are mainly focused on like, selling the Beyblade toys, they don't necessarily focus on like, making good video games for them. A lot of the times they're really just cash grabs, like, and they're like, quick time events, and they'll have like hella mobile games where you just like, buy a bunch of worthless shit. And they never really focus on like, making like a good quality game. But for a series like Beyblade, you would think that we would have like one game to where we all can like universally go back to and say, if you want to play a great Beyblade game or even a good Beyblade game, you play this one. I feel like we don't have that. Especially for a series as popular as Beyblade was and still is, I feel like there really needs to be a good Beyblade game so we can actually have something to point to be like, if you want to know what Beyblade is like, play this video game. Because that's kind of how it is for like, everything, card games, and even for, even for other shows that were mainly about like, selling toys and not necessarily like, making great games. Because Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel came out like 2 years ago, and people say, well, if you want to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Play Master Duel. If you want to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Play Duel Links, right? Like every card game has to have like an online simulator to where, if people are on the go or people just want to experience it without having to, waste a bunch of money on trying to do it IRL. It needs something to play so they can be like, okay, I like this or I don't like this, so that they can really gauge on whether or not they like it or not. But Beyblade doesn't have that. Beyblade kind of sits in the same spot as Bakugan, where it's a really popular series and it's been popular for a long time, but no company really makes a good game for it. They just make cash grab, low budget, like 2005 PS2 type games with nothing in it, and it's the most bare bones shit. Bakugan has went through the same thing. Like the first Bakugan game is like the best one, but it in itself is the most bare bones, like quick time event type shit. It's not actually a game. And Beyblade has gone through this, but like 10 times worse. Like when I was researching stuff for this video, there's like 30 plus Beyblade games that have been coming out since the fucking Game Boy Advance. Like it's so many Beyblade games, but like none of them are actually like really, really good. They're all either really, really bad, really, really old or outdated, or they're just like they're just like okay, like they're not like great games. And some of them even aren't like, Beyblade games, if that makes any sense. Like one of them, like one of the very old Beyblade games, I think from the Game Boy, is like this open world type of game where like you like, like your Beyblade just kind of like rolls around on like this like platform, and you like, it's kind of like a Beyblade platformer almost, which is really fucking weird to me, and I never understood it. And then the other ones like Beyblade Super Tournament Battle, it's a good Beyblade game, don't get me wrong. Well, like good will probably be stretching it. It's a okay Beyblade game. Like, it functions, but like it's very, very bare bones. Like, the only thing that they really like probably worked on with this game was the actual Beyblade battles, which are decent, but it's a very basic game. Like, you just kind of, you know, move the Beyblade around, you hit the other Beyblade, you press the B button to activate your Bit Beast, and that's it. Like, there's nothing else to the game. Like, the characters model that you use are sprites. Like, there's nothing else to do in the game besides like basic one-on-ones, or you know, like 4-player battles and team battles, and that's it. Like, there's nothing else to it. There's no story, there are no, you know, characters in it, there are no unique characters, there's nothing else to it. And even some of the newer Beyblade Burst games, they're kind of in the same boat. There are a couple of Beyblade Burst games for the Nintendo Switch that personally I've never played, but just by looking at them from like, you know, YouTube videos and like, you know, Let's Plays, it didn't really look like it was too much else. Like, it has some updated graphics, but like the gameplay of actually like, you know, the Beyblade battles just looked really like quick time eventy, and it didn't really look like it was fun to play. Like, there was no like story mode, like with, you know, like there was no cutscenes. It didn't look like you could create a character. I'm not sure if you could create a Beyblade, I might be wrong on that, but like there is no like full experience of a Beyblade game. And while I was thinking about this, trying to make this video, I came to the conclusion that Beyblade games, and you know, the series like Beyblade where like they're mainly focused on selling the toys rather than like, you know, really making like a good game or really making sometimes like good animes for them. I feel like franchises like Beyblade are like, they don't have good games because of the same reason that we don't have a good Superman or good Flash game. And I say that because it's very possible to make a great Beyblade game. Like, it's 2024, I'm pretty sure we can make a good Beyblade game that's fun to play, where you can make your own characters, make your own Beyblades, and have a good time. But just like how with Superman and the Flash, we have the resources to make them, I just feel like people don't know how to make a great Beyblade game. Just like how studios don't know how to make a good Superman game or a good Flash game. Let me kind of explain that. Now, like I said before, we have plenty of resources to make a good Superman game and to make a good Beyblade game, just like we can make like a good Flash game. But using those two superhero games as an example, nobody knows how to make a proper Superman game or a proper Flash game. Nobody knows how to make the games feel, and no studio really knows how to make the games feel like they're honoring the superhero in the best way possible. Because we've all wanted like a great Superman game, because we have plenty of Batman games, we even have, you know, Spider-Man games, but we've never had a good Superman game. The last Superman game was Superman for the Nintendo 64, and that's kind of crazy. But we definitely have the resources. People just don't know how to properly make one without making it either not good or not faithful to the actual superhero that the game is supposed to be about. Because people feel like that with a Flash game, that they will get, you know, the speed wrong, or even just the sense of speed and how the Flash is supposed to feel when he's running fast in the game. And the same thing with Superman. A lot of people just want like a Grand Theft Auto type of open world Superman game where you just fly around and can crash into buildings and, you know, fight Doomsday and shit like that. Nobody really knows, well, game studios don't really know or really have an interest in finding out how to make a proper Superman game or how to make a proper Flash game. And it's the same thing with Beyblade. Like, there's nothing really incentivizing any game studio to make a great Beyblade game, because the studio who owns Beyblade and the Beyblade title, they're just focused on the toys and whatever little, you know, video game that they can have a studio make within like, you know, 6 months to maybe a year and a half to be a cash grab for little kids who don't know any better. That's all they really care about. They don't really give a fuck about making a great Beyblade game, which is why we haven't had any really good Beyblade game that we really can be like, okay, this is the Beyblade game that you need to play. Because if somebody asks you where's the, you know, a good Beyblade game to play, you wouldn't know which fucking title to tell them, because there is no title to tell people. They're either really bare bones, a mobile game, or it's just kind of boring. Like, there really is no great Beyblade game that you can point people to be like, this is what you need to play to experience Beyblade outside of watching the anime or, you know, cartoon, or just doing it in real life. And I really feel like there are no good Beyblade games because there is no incentive to make a good Beyblade game, because they make so much money off the toys and they make so much money off the cartoon that there is no incentive to be like, oh, let's make a great Beyblade game, but we already make millions, probably billions of dollars off of toy sales alone, that we can just kind of make anything and little kids will ask their parents to buy the game and then they won't think twice about it. Nobody really thinks about, like, you know, making a great Beyblade game because there is no incentive to. Now, there is an incentive to make a good Superman and Flash game. They just have no interest in doing that because they know they're going to make millions and billions off of just the movies and the comic books alone, to where they really don't give a fuck. And it really is kind of sad to see, because Beyblade is a popular series. Like, people still love Beyblade, but there just isn't like a way for us to experience Beyblade like online. There is no like great Beyblade game that has been made to where we can, you know, just have fun with it outside of doing it in real life. Which, you know, playing Beyblade in real life is fun and all, but we all want, like, you know, a great Beyblade game to really be like, okay, like, if it's like it's 2 in the morning, I want to play Beyblade, and, you know, nobody's awake for us to do this shit in real life. There is no way for us to be like, okay, like, let's play Beyblade. Like, there is no real life, there is no like online equivalent. And it's kind of like the card game example I used before Master Duel came out. Unless you wanted to play Duel Links, there was no, like, you know, of course there was, you know, YGO Pro and Edo Pro and stuff like that, but there was no like seamless, you know, online simulator for you to play Yu-Gi-Oh before Master Duel. And just like before Magic the Gathering Arena, there was no, like, you know, seamless way to play Magic the Gathering before Magic the Gathering Arena came out. And the same thing with the Pokemon, and the same thing with the Pokemon simulator. Like, people need an online way to play a game or to experience something in order for it to stay relevant, I guess, and to, you know, keep it in people's minds. But that's just my take. You know, let me know if any of these other Beyblade games are actually worth playing. I might give them a try, you know, like I might give them a try sometime in the future. But that's just my opinion on why there are no good Beyblade games, and this is just my humble opinion. Don't yell at me. I'm out.